Hello everybody, Handheld Gamer here. Welcome to another one. Today we're going to be taking a look at the C64 Maxi. But first, before we look at it, here is the Mini. I did have the Mini also. And it was a pretty good system. It just had a couple of faults that held it back from being perfect. The keyboard, lack of keyboard, actual keyboard held it back. And not enough USB ports. So that also held it back, and you couldn't play some of the games that you loaded on your micro SD card because of you'd have to switch the controller ports. Back in the day, some games worked on controller ports 2 or controller port 1, and I believe this did not work on port 2. And a lot of the games for one-player games used port 2 instead of port 1. It didn't work with everything, so wasn't a great perfect system, but not bad. But today we're going to be looking at, on the shelf over there, the C64 Maxi, and that is a full-size Commodore 64. So without further ado, sit back and let's check it out. There it is in its full glory. So as you see, well actually I put the Mini up already, but this is full size and pretty cool looking box actually too. From Retro Games, they've been doing fantastic work with these 8-bit systems. So let's check it out. Okay, so here is the C64 Maxi with a full-sized working keyboard. 64 games, does have VIC-20 support. That was my first computer, the VIC-20. And unfortunately never owned a Commodore 64. Played it many times at my buddy's house. And people of my age will know that when the video game crash of '83 happened, all video games were stopped being sold, new systems and stuff, and games were heavily discounted. A lot of us still continued gaming, us kids. We just finally realized that computers were more powerful systems to play our games on. So we all started moving to these computers instead. And that lasted for a couple years before Nintendo came out. So we were still gaming during the crash of '83, but a lot of us switched to computers because there was no video game systems being sold. So anyways, that's why a C64, part of the reason it did so well. So HDMI, let's open it up. Sorry about the glares there. Let me move Hefty Smurf out of the way so he doesn't fall over. Guarding the C64 there. I feel like Legend of Zelda. Opening up something nice treasure. So there is the C64 in its glory, with a beautiful keyboard and this cool box of accessories on the side here. This just has some cables and things in there, and the joystick. So we'll get that out, and this is very cool looking joystick here. So awesome. Still got the new plastic on there because I haven't even messed with it. Sad. And I'll have to update the software later on and test it. We'll do that separate video where I'll upload software to it. But what it does have built-in software. There she is in all her glory. She or he, whatever you want to call it. Awesome, awesome. HDMI on back. Looks like one USB on the side and 3 on the side over here. 3 more. And that is it for the plugs. Pretty beefy. I don't remember the original C64 feeling heavy, but I haven't used it many years, so. Okay, let's get all this stuff out of our way and we'll hook it up. Here is Retro Game C64. Fantastic system. I'm really enjoying it so far. I've been playing for about 4 hours. Here is the list of games. I'm just going to skip through them real fast. 64 total games, including some of them that are VIC-20. And like I said, you can sideload your own games. So you can put basically anything on here. And the Commodore 64 had a massive library of games. I believe well over 10,000. So definitely a lot of games for us people who especially grew up with this system, with this computer, because I don't think any older generation that didn't grow up with it may not appreciate it or enjoy it as much. But definitely for us people who definitely grew up with this computer will love it. And it's a joy having a full-size working keyboard. As you can see, games are a lot of fun. They've included a lot of these I didn't play. I mean, there were so many games on the Commodore 64 that I just didn't. I mean, over 10,000 games. So there are some of the ones I didn't play, but I can add them on later on. And the C64, the Commodore 64, I was in Los Angeles at the time, and I got to use the pre-internet at a kid's house. His dad worked for IBM, and they had the internet, and I think it was around 85, I believe. So I used the pre-internet on the Commodore 64, and we downloaded Mail Order Monsters, which was kind of an arena-style 8-bit build-your-own monster and fight. And it took us, I think the game must have been like 15, 20 kilobytes probably. Not big at all. But it took us well over 20 minutes probably to download it. It's been so long, I was a kid back then, so I don't remember exactly, but I know it took a while. But as you can see, there's a big selection of games. I'm kind of running through the list, just showing them off. I just streamed it down because I know a lot of people don't want to watch me play Commodore 64 for hours. But for us people who grew up with it, they may find a hidden gem on here or add their own. And like I said, there's also basics, so you can do some code your own games or your own programs since you have a fully functional keyboard. And the controller, the joystick, works much better than the one that came with the mini system. The mini system, it didn't have the clicky feel to it. It just wasn't as responsive. This new joystick that they've given with this Maxi is fantastic. It works really great. And as you can see, I was experimenting with a lot of these games. There are a few games I played here like Jumpman and Boulder Dash. And I think I played a few of these. They were on the mini system, so I did play a little bit of them. I mean, most of them were that brought over. My first computer actually was a VIC-20, so I only experienced the Commodore 64 at a friend's house because he had it. I got mine a VIC-20 a year before. Really enjoyed the VIC-20, but I definitely, when I wanted to play Commodore 64, I had to go to my buddy's house. So it is nice after all these years, many years later, to finally have a Commodore 64 of my own and to be able to enjoy these types of games. And I have side-loaded games. I have added my own games to it, and it's very easy to do. And there's a quick, if you go to their website, you can download the newest firmware update, which is very simple. Everything's simple to do. And you just put it on your memory stick and you're good to go. And like I said, you can add any games you want to. So if you have fun games you will want to play that you remember that's not on this initial 64 that they give you, you can do it. There were some weird ones on here also that I haven't played. But like I said, I think that this Commodore 64, the C64, is for people who grew up with the system, have fond memories of it. They will definitely love it. And maybe some of those adventurous types that want to experience something new, that maybe they grew up in that time period, or maybe they like really retro games. So what can I say? I think you will definitely love this C64 if you grew up with it. It's an awesome system, and it's really nice to have the full functional Maxi version, the full-sized one, so you can use the full-on keyboard and also have access to port 1 or port 2, because you need those to play certain games. So anyways, that is it for this episode. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and as always, have a good one. Take care, everybody, and until next time.